بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه من والاه وعلى من تبع هداه إلى يوم يلقاه. أما بعد, for tonight is the night Al-Khamis, the day is the day of Al-Arbi'a. The night is the 16th of Rabee Al-Awwal 1446, synchronizing with the day of the 18th of September 2024. And it's the concise presentation of the Fiqh. And we are in Will and Inheritance, episode 89. We are concluding the Wasiyah. As I said, the Wasiyah will be translated into English, but not at the moment it's been translated. But I have to check it. My son translated it into English, but I didn't have the time to check the translation. Now we're coming to, as I said, concluding the Wasiyah. There's things there which the book did not deal with. It's a very important thing that we need to focus upon. So we'll go along with you, inshallah, with the following, and it's going to be on the screen. So I'm going to just, if you bear with me a second. Right. Okay. Right. As you can see in the screen, the rulings of wills, compiled number of rulings which are important. When they are concise, so the proof for them either it could be an ayah or a hadith or an understanding from the scholars. So the rulings of the wills, first of all, the will is a legal declaration of how a person wishes his possessions to be disposed of after his death. It is obligatory to make will, whether written or oral. You could just sit down today. Take notes. Or oral upon the following cases: who holds financial rights of others, or vice versa. That means, you are in debt or you are crediting somebody, but these rights are not recorded, lest they should be lost. And who has a branch that died before him, like a son, he should make a will to the children of that branch, equivalent or less to what the branch would have inherited if he's to be alive, but it shouldn't exceed the third of the estate. You've got two sons. One of the sons has got children as well, so you've got grandsons. One of the sons had died. Now, if you die after the son, the grandchildren of that son who died before you will not inherit anything, because they're being blocked by the other son of yours. I repeat, if you had two sons, one son has got children. Let's say the children got children. If one son dies before you, as the father of the sons, your grandchildren will not inherit anything, because the other son will block them. So it is incumbent upon you to make an inheritance for those grandchildren as if to be that the son of yours is alive, as long as it does not exceed the third. Now, some of the courts, they call it al-wasiyya al-wajiba. Wasiyya al-wajiba means that this is the incumbent wasiyya. So whether you write it or not, they take it out, and that's not correct. So, for example, in Syria or in Egypt, or even sometimes in courts of Jordan, if this happens, that you are a person who's got two sons and one of the sons has got children, and that son died before you, so his grandchildren is going to be blocked by the other son. So they will take straight away, before any inheritance takes place, a portion for those grandchildren as of their fathers to be alive, which is your son. And as I said, this is not correct. It has to be with a wasiyah. If there's a wasiyah, yes. If there's no wasiyah, you can't do that. Also, it is obligatory. Who knows that there will be matters contradicting Islam from bid'ah after his death, such as innovations in their funeral, burial in a non-Muslim cemetery, Muslim who's a revert, whom his family is still a kuffar, they might take him to a non-Muslim cemetery or bury him in a non-Muslim. So a person who is a revert, he must write a will in order to be buried where in an Islamic cemetery. Inheritance will not be implemented according to Islam unless stated in a will. So if your inheritance is not going to be implemented in according to Islam, you must write a will. So in this country, you're married. If you don't write a will according to Islam, you're not going to be divided into your children by the law of this country according to Islam. But the law of the country guarantees for you that your will be implemented to the letter. Even if you have to give your money to the cat or the dog, they will implement it. So if it is the case, then I will make sure that my will, it will be said there that I want my money to be distributed according to the Sharia law. And you could refer to the Sharia Council to be your executive, the one who executes your will after your death. And then you put a person who executes the will, second person or third person in case they die. So the executor will make sure he will do it according to the will of yours. It is recommended to make a will for those who want to give a portion of their wealth to any good causes, especially from a wealthy person whose heirs are well off. So it's recommended to make a will. If you're well off, you got lots of money, or you've got money and your heirs, the one who inherits you, your sons, are well off. They don't need your money that much to make, within the third, something like building a masjid or looking after an orphanage and so on and so forth. It is disliked for those who have insufficient funds and whose heirs are in need to make a will to give money as donations. So if you have left very little money and your heirs are not that well off, they're really in need, then it's not correct to go and make a will to designate a portion of your wealth to such and such, because your heirs are the ones who are got the priority. So spend it, leave all of it to your heirs. And those people, they will be giving your reward instead of, I want my such and such money to be taken to go and dig a will. It's within your third, but still it's not recommended because your heirs are in need. Then after that, a will made by a sane, distinguishing child is valid, as we said, and binding, just as his prayer is valid. Distinguishing child that's 5, 6, 7 years, 10 years old, if he knows what he's doing, not like the one who doesn't know. Because if he's 6 years old, can lead the prayer, because he knows that the wudu and all of that. So the same thing, his will be binding. In contrast to what you have seen from the book, the will is valid and binding if written by testator's handwriting, or if there were 2 witnesses to an oral or written declaration. So if people can recognize his writing, or he made it as a PDF file, like I've done it myself, and then he had got 2 witnesses to sign it, at least. It is permissible to bequeath a baby in the womb, but not to a predicted pregnancy, as he is considered inexistent. Meaning, I could just say, for example, I want such and such money from my will, that's from within my third, to go to let's say, a daughter of yours who is married to somebody else, and you want to give to her child. Her child is not one of the heirs to inherit you. Do you understand me? The son of your daughters, they don't inherit from you. Grandchildren from daughters, they don't inherit. Grandchildren from sons will inherit. But let's say even the grandchildren from the son, they will not inherit if the one who is closer to you is alive. The son of yours will block the grandsons, okay? So if you want, let's say, to give a will to the pregnant wife of your son, to give to the grandsons, and if you died and still the son is yours, is alive, that means the grandchildren can't have that will. Why? Because the grandchildren are not direct inheritors. They don't inherit. It's only the son of yours, not the grandsons. As for the sons of the daughter, regardless of what takes place, the sons of the daughter, they will never inherit from you. Even if there was nobody in the family. Nobody. Let's say you've got no father, no mother, no wife, no children, nothing. And you've got no daughter, nothing. You've got just the grandchildren of the daughter, they don't inherit. So you could make a portion to that pregnant daughter of yours, that is to go to the grandchildren of hers. But it has to be a pregnancy, not, oh, I'm predicting she's going to be getting pregnant. So I cannot make a will to something which does not exist. So the pregnancy has been, acknowledged medically, and the health, she's pregnant, then you could make a will to that. But to say that, well, she's married, she's binding now, she's about to go and get pregnant later on, so I'm going to give a will to the probability that maybe she'll get, a child later on. No, you can't make that. Is that understood? It has to be something that we know is going to be existing, not something which is inexistent. It is permissible to bequeath unspecified items such as slave or animals. In such case, the legatee is given anything by that means. So I'm just bequeathing unspecified items, or a slave. I don't know which slave it is, just a slave, or an animal. I don't know which animal I've got. So if I said that I want to bequeath an animal, to give a will of an animal or give a will of a slave, and without specifying which one, then legatee will, give anything of that means. It is permissible to bequeath the entire estate if there are no inheritors. There's no sons, no children, no father, no mother, no wife, or no husband. Okay, and I want to give all my will to somebody who is outside my family. There's no family to inherit me. You are allowed. It's above this. So all of your inheritance can go to that. Okay, so I want all my money to go to build a masjid because I don't have any direct heirs. Okay, so it's allowed to do that. It is permissible for the testator to change his will at any time before his death. So he written a will, and then he changed his mind. He wanted to change his will. No problem. As long as he's alive, let's go and get the two witnesses or the other two witnesses, or any witnesses that you have in your home, a new will. And you could just date that will, a new one. So you don't have an old one, which was in the hand of somebody, you gave it to him, and then you're going to produce it when you die, and which is not really updated. So make sure that it is dated so that you know that this is the latest will of yours. It is permissible to bequeath Muslims or none, but non-Muslims should not be bequeathed things that are not allowed to be owned by them. So I could say that portion of my will within the third, I wanted to go to Peter. He's not a Muslim, he's a friend of mine. No problem. But I cannot give him and bequeath him or make a will to give him something that he's not allowed to have an ownership of. Like I have a slave, Muslim. Muslim slaves cannot be sold to or given to be a non-Muslim. Remember, the slave, he will go along with his master in terms of religion, in terms of everything. So Muslim slave, I cannot give him to a master who's going to be what? A non-Muslim. Is that understood? I cannot give him that ownership. Let's say, for example, that you have built a masjid. And this masjid is not yet being waqf. It's not for general allowance, just into your name. I'm not allowed to give, for example, a third of that masjid to a non-Muslim to bequeath it, because it has to be a Muslim who's owning that masjid. Also, it is impermissible to bequeath unspecified non-Muslims. So I want part of my will within the third to any non-Muslim. No, it has to be specified. Whom are you going to give? Which? So if you did like this without specifying, I want some portion of my money to go, as long as not a Muslim, give it to him. That will not be valid. It will not be executed. Is that understood? Has to be specified non-Muslim. It is impermissible to bequeath in a manner that contradicts the Sharia, even if the testator is a non-Muslim. Example. So I can't, for example, bequeath money to build a church or build a shrine, okay, or printing Bibles. I want part of my money to go to print Bibles. I want part of my money to build a shrine. You know the shrine? Tombs, the tombs. They put them in, you find them a lot in some of the countries, like in our Muslim country, Pakistan. Oh, found a lot of shrines, Pir Sahib and all of that. So I'm not allowed to specify part of that money to rebuild those tombs. It is also impermissible to bequeath someone that cannot be a rightful owner. So I cannot bequeath some of the money to Mr. Jinn. Who's that Jinn? You can't have an ownership. Or an animal. All my inheritance goes to a dog or the cat of mine. It's not allowed. It's not going to be executed Islamically. In this country, they will. The money will go to the cat. Dog, once the dog dies, he does not inherit it and bequeath it to his puppies. It can go to the government. The government is the last winner. Is always the winner. Thank you very much for giving us the money. Once the dog is dead, it will go to the estate. Do you know that? Yeah, that's by the law. So you find a dog who's rich and he's got a palace of his own. Allah al-Musta'an. So in Islam, you're not allowed to give your money to a dead person. It's because he's dead. I want my money to go to such and such and he's dead. How can you give it to him? So that will not be executed and the money will go to Bayt al-Mal. Right. After this, it is permissible for the testator to bequeath up to a maximum of a third of his estate. Some scholars deem it desirable to bequeath less than a third, like Abdullah ibn Abbas. But it's up to the third is allowed. Too much is a third. But as I said, if your heirs who are going to inherit your wealth and you've got lots of money, no problem. It is impermissible for the testator to bequeath more than a third if he has eligible heirs, like sons and daughters and all of that, unless approved by them, since it is their right. Such approval is to be valid after the testator's death. So you gathered all your sons and daughters and your father and your mother and your wife, let's say, who are the ones going to inherit from you. Those are the ones, not your brothers. Brothers are not going to inherit when you have a son. If you had no sons, then the brother will as well has to say their saying. So I said, I want to bequeath half of my estate to such and such person. If they did not approve it, you're going to be sinned for that. But if they approved it, you're not going to be sinned. But listen, still, their approval will not be valued until until you die. So let's say they said to you, okay, father or uncle or son, whatever who they are there, go ahead and make more than a third. So you're exempted from the sin. So you've written half of your estate to such and such. You died. After your death, one of the heirs, he said, or all of them, maybe, or some of them, he said, no, I am not really approving what I approved before. I've changed my mind. Or maybe I said that just to satisfy my father. I can't really say anything when he was alive. Now he's dead. So I don't want to go ahead with this approval. So his disapproval will be valued because the thing is that we just said now that their decision only will be valued after the testator's death. Is that understood, everybody? If you don't understand anything, just put your finger up. It is impermissible for the testator to bequeath an extra portion to any eligible inheritor who is not completely prevented, unless approved by the other eligible heirs, since it is their right. Such approval, again, is to be valued after the testator's death. So I want to put some more money to one of my sons. I want to put in my will that one of my sons, such and such, to get an extra portion beside his inheritance by the laws of Allah. So my will. So if I said this without the approval of all of them, I would be sinned. Okay, and after my death, it will not be taking place because not approved Islamically. But let's say they have approved. That's okay. We are all approved to give more extra portion after death to such and such son because maybe he's poor. Again, it's not sin, but after the death is the evaluation, is the value. Your will not be valued, or their decision will not be taken in consideration until you die. They might change their mind again. We don't want to give that extra portion to one who is already an inheritor by the laws of Allah. Is that understood, everybody? Okay. Yes? Yes or no? Yes or no? Like, the validity of the bequest with regard to the legatees is considered only at the time of the testator's death. For example, if it is stated that an extra portion was to be given to an eligible heir who is not prevented, but at the time of the testator's death, he became completely prevented due to the newborn son, for example, then shall be valid and binding and does not require the other's heirs' approval, but not vice versa. I'll tell you the vice versa what it is in a minute. Continue. Meaning, let's say, Kwani, I have given a portion to one brother, okay, who is an inheritor, a brother of mine. So I had my wife, I had daughter, I had a wife, and I had a daughter. Okay, always I'm thinking about the man dying, by the way. I'm not taking the women dying. I'm just passing death upon men. So a man who's got, can I just ask for some air? Because I'm really getting hot. If it's possible, because, yes, I'm feeling hot. So if I've got, listen, a wife and a daughter and a brother, the brother will inherit now because there's no son to block him. Is that okay? Right. Now, I had given a portion to my brother who's already an heir and it's not allowed. Do you understand that? With the approval of the wife. The wife, she said, okay, get extra money apart from his portion. And if I die, I left a wife and I left a brother, do you know what's the share of the wife and the share of the brother? The wife takes what? How do you think? Look at Islam, how detailed. I want to understand how you understand. I've got married, got wife, and I got a brother. Nobody else. What is the share of my brother? What is the share of my wife? Anybody know? We teach you the inheritance law. No, the wife does not take it. She can quarter because there's no children. So the wife, she takes a quarter. And where's the 3/4 goes to? The brother. Did you believe that the brother can take more than the wife? 3/4. So let's say that this person, he wants to give extra portion on top of the 3/4. Do you understand it? Extra portion. And the wife, she said, okay, no problem. Right? What she said, maybe I will change my mind when he dies. Because you remember, her approval will be valid when the person dies. The person dies and that brother's still an inheritor, she would say, no, I don't want to, I've changed my mind. I want to take my full quarter, and he takes the 3/4. I'm not going to give him that extra portion of the will of his. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Please, please, I mean, I want you to shake your heads because I need to understand you understand me. Okay. Let's say before he died, he got his wife pregnant. Okay. And she gave birth. Now, the inheritance will not be divided until the birth of the child. Because the birth of the child is going to do a lot. And the child was a son. Child was what? A son. You know what does the son do? Blocks whom? The brother. So the brother is now entitled for the what? For the will. Because he's not a direct heir now. So the will is going to go to him. So if the wife, she said, I'm not going to approve that will. Well, her saying will not be taken in consideration. Why? Because he's not an heir anymore. He's not an inheritor. Do you understand that? Shall I explain it again or not? Everybody knows what I'm talking about? That son blocked that brother. When he blocked the brother, so he's entitled religiously, legally, without her approval for that will. He's entitled for it. Why? Because he's not an inheritor now anymore, because of the son. But if she gave birth to a daughter, listen, to a daughter does not block the brother. So let's just see what is the share of the daughter and the wife and the brother. Ahmed, I'm giving you 3 seconds. What's the share? Wife, full brother, and the daughter.
I don't know, Sheikh. Jazakallah khair.
3 seconds are finished. Anybody would like to give me? See? Brother 2/3. And the daughter's got nothing? What are you talking about? No, the daughter is closer than the brother. No. Okay. So, Ahmed, what's the daughter share? Ahmed.
Naam, Sheikhna. I'm here.
Speak up, please.
Yeah, the daughter's share. Just the daughter's share.
Hello?
Can you hear me, Sheikh?
Oh, am I not on? I could. Can I just ask, please, somebody to talk here? Because Ahmed is not answering me. Anybody press, please? Muhammad, Ibrahim, Rayhana, Khan, or Maryam. Anybody speaks up something? Oh, is it? Oh, dear. Hang on. What do you mean change the output?
So if you exit the full screen,
So I got sharing. I got the sharing.
just minimize it,
Yeah.
and with the mic there, right click on the.
Because I'm on Zoom, by the way.
Yeah, no, that's okay. On the speaker,
Okay.
and sorry, right click on the speaker.
Right click on the speaker.
Yep. And sound settings.
Sound settings.
Yeah, you see it's going to the LG TV, so you need to change it to speaker.
Oh, yeah.
Now, inshallah, it should work.
Ahmed, can you hear me?
Yes, Sheikh, I can hear you.
Did you answer before?
No, I said I didn't know the answer.
And we didn't hear you by the way when you said that.
Barakallahu feek, I gathered that. Jazakallahu khair.
Anybody who like on the Zoom, anybody who like to join with a share? Yes, father. Quarter with the daughter. Okay. So because you don't inherit this law. Daughter, she takes a half. Okay. There's no son here. Daughter takes a half. And because the wife now, she's got a daughter or she's got a son, her share from fourth quarter, she will go to 1/8. So the wife, she will get 1/8, and the daughter, she'll get a half, and the rest goes to the brother. How much is the brother now? Come on, maths. Yeah, 3/8. Well done. 3/8 plus an 8 is a 4/8, which is a half, plus a half. Okay. You're going to get to maths, inshallah, when we get to the inheritance, then you're going to understand. Right. So 3/8 goes to who? To the brother. Okay. So if this person had given extra share to the brother, listen to me, apart from his share, and the wife of his got pregnant, she gave birth to a daughter, that daughter does not block him. So now the wife or the daughter could say, we don't want to give him the extra portion. Because you cannot make a will to somebody who's a direct heir from Allah unless approved by the estate, by the inheritors, and that approval will only be valued after your death. They approved before you died, maybe because they're scared of you. Maybe their circumstances was not really was okay, but not okay after your death. You get me? They want to change their mind. But if she gave birth to a son, he's blocked the brother. Then he's entitled for that in that will, regardless of the approval of theirs. Yes, they approved before they approved it because he was a direct heir, but now he's not a direct heir. So the approval is not really now required from them. Jazakumullah khairan. All right, yes. Okay. Thank you very much. That's why we need you all the time, yeah. Right. Okay. So let's just go now. Are you sharing, by the way, with us, Ya Akhwani? Ahmed, are you sharing?
I'm not sharing, but we can see what you're sharing.
So you could see the sharing, yes?
Yes.
Okay. What do you see on your screen? Ruling of the wills?
Yes, Sheikh.
Okay, so it's gone back now to the. Hang on. Do you see that the PowerPoint presentation or something else? I think he's seeing something else.
Now we just see you only.
Yeah, I know. I think I didn't share you this. We were going through the screens. I don't think you've seen the screens, have you?
Oh, no,
we're page
no.
5,
I was
6,
just listening
7.
to. Oh, yeah, I was just listening to you. I wasn't actually looking at the screen.
So we went 3 pages, you see, from that. We went like from this to this, explain it, and now to 7. All right. Right. Now we're going to go to the vice versa. We are on this point. So if not vice versa, which means if a complete prevented heir was bequeathed, and at the time of the testator's death, so he was bequeathed, and the title testator, he became an inheritor due to the death of an heir who blocked him, then the will shall not be valid. Meaning, if I made a will to my brother and had a son, the son is blocking my brother, he's not going to inherit. So the will is valid to my brother. And then I was with my brother in a car, with my son in a car, and we both died. I died, okay, first, and then son died straight away. So because I died first, the son becomes an inheritor. And the son becomes what? Blocking to the brother. Son blocks the brother. So my will take place. Do you understand that? Because my brother is blocked. Is that understood, everybody? Okay, khair inshallah. Alhamdulillah. This is also applied to the bequest exceeding a third. Same thing. I bequeath, I willed for more than a third. So he said, at the time of the testator's death, it became less. In such a case, he shall be valid and binding. So in the case, the will shall be valid and binding and does not require the other heir's approval, but not vice versa. So I had, for example, he says that I have bequested in my will more than a third. I had let's say 900 pounds. I said I want to give 400 pounds, which is more than a third, which is the 300 pounds, such and such and such, to the people. Okay, so he says here, at the time of the testator's death, it became less. So I gave 300. Sorry, I had 1,000. I gave 300, which is within my third. But when I died, okay, that money of mine, it was not 1,000, it was 800. So the third is much more than the third which I had tried to. So this will not be taking place. It will take within the third. So always the evaluation is the time of the testator's death. So his third will be calculated at that time. He gave a third when he thinks he's going to have more money. The same thing here, or the opposite. I gave more than a third, and I had the approval of the testators, so the ones who are, the inheritors, said to me, okay, father, give more than a third. All right? And because my will now is more than a third, I had their approval. But when I died, I had much more money. I won something, or something God gave me, okay? And my money now is a lot. And that will of mine became within the third, so that the approval now is not needed. Do you understand me? So the approval, so if I die and they change it, I want to change our mind because he gave her, more than a third, but his money now is more than a third, more than before. And the third is within that money, so it will be executed, inshallah. It will be taking place. But if a third of the estate did not cover the amount assigned in the bequest, and the heirs did not authorize the excess, then the decrease will equally affect all of those who are listed in the will, regardless being listed first or last. This decrease will affect them in a percentage wise, as in Awwal case. I'm going to talk about the Awwal, inshallah. This is the homework I've given you last week. When I said to you that, let's say, a person who had given a will, and this will, basically, he is a third of the estate, but when he died, that was more than the third. So only the third will take place. So let's say this person, when he was alive, he made a will of 300 pounds and he had 900 pounds. So that's a third. But when he died, he actually lost some of his money and he only ended up with 600 pounds. So the 300 pounds becomes his half. And the will cannot be exceeding what? The third, we said. So now the 300 pounds is not going to be given. How much we're going to give? 200. Because 600 now, the whole money. Getting a third, which is 200. Now the 300 pounds deducted now from the 200 pounds is 100 pounds. So now this will of his, let's say he got A and B, two people. So he wants to give 150 to A, or let's say getting three people, make that 100 to A, 100 to B, and 100 to C. When he gave them this, this is will. But now when he died, his money was 600 pounds. Okay, so when it is 600 pounds, is there any air? Oh, I'm not feeling the air, by the way. I can't. It's not reaching me. I'm really sweating. It's not an AC. I don't think it's an AC. This is like an air. No. What's the temperature when in the room? I'm telling you, it's 22. No, what's the temperature of the room? 20? It can't be that from 20. No way. He doesn't know that. He thinks this is the 20 was if you put in the ventilation. Put the AC, Sheikh, not the A ventilator. Is the AC the top or the bottom, by the way? Go and do it as the doctor, because I don't think so. It's not right. Smudging the ventilation. That's not AC. Yes, right. جزاك الله خير. طيب يا اخواني. What was it here, the last thing? Homework. So this person's state now from 900 to 600. When he had 900, he was allowed to give 300 pounds on the third to as a will. It's a third. But now when he died, his money was 600. The 300 pounds is half. Now the testators, or the inheritors, they don't want to approve that anymore. We don't want it. They want to just want a third. So how the decrease goes on. So let's say in his will, he said, I want to give one person called A, 100 pounds. Another person called B, 100 pounds. A third person called C, 100 pounds. So now we've gone from 300 to 200. What should we do? We do, for example, disregard C? No, we don't. We apply the decrease on all of them. So regardless whether A was mentioned first and B mentioned second, C mentioned third, then we'll deprive C from the money. So we'll give A to 100 and B is 200 because the third of a 600 is 200. Are you following me? So A, I'm going to take 100 and B take 100, C you deprive him. No. We decrease the decrease ratio, we go all of them one go, regardless of how they were mentioned. Let's say he said, give A first and then give B, C. We don't listen to this. A, B, C, and C treated as the same ones. Right. So how much we're going to be giving each one? Okay. So let's divide the 200 pounds onto the three because it had equal shares. Fine. Well done. The testatus, what is here now? Yeah. If some heirs approve the excess amount above the third, while others did not, then the decrease in shares will be on the heirs who approved it. So let's say that I have made a will, which is an excess of a third, and he approved it at the beginning, but when I died, some of the heirs approved it, some of them did not. So the decrease goes onto the ones who approved it. So the one who does not approve it, he will take his full share from the heirs. Do you understand that? And the one who does not approve it, he will take it. The one who approves it, he will take the deduction. Okay? Because the one who approves it, okay, approves it, from that deduction, we'll give you. And for the one who did not approve it, he will take his full share as an inheritor. No deduction. So let's give you an example, a live example. So we said this person, again, has got 900. And this person had his money gone down to 600. He's got A, B, C, and that's 100, 100, 100. Now the third is 200. We said 67 each, correct? Right. Now, let's say, actually, that some of them approved the 300. So let's say the inheritors of this person who died, one son and another son. One son, he said, I'm going to go with what my father decided, which is the original 300. And the other said, no, I'm not going to accept. Okay? So when we will give the deduction only from the person who said, khalas, I'll accept it. My father, he said it. So we will deduct from his share. So how much? He's got two sons only. The two sons, they will divide the 600 in between them. After they've taken the what? Taken the 300. So when we say, we take 200 pounds and we give the full share to the first son, and we take 300 pounds as a ratio to the other son because he accepted the excess. So one of the sons will take more than the other. So let's say now, can anybody calculate it for me? You got 200 pounds is going to be given as, okay, we forget about ABC, 200 pounds, all right? 200 pounds from the 600, that's a third. Okay, so now one son, he said, I'm accepting the original will, which is the 300 pounds. So if he's accepting the original money, that means his share from the inheritance will be taken not from 400, from what? 300. Do you understand me? Because he accepted the father's will. Whereas the other person, his share will be taken from the 200. 400, because he did not approve it. Are you following me or not? I need to have maybe to the board and I'm not. You're not following me. So, Ikhwani, if both approve it, then their money will be 300 left, because their will of their father is 300, which is 50% of his estate. Okay? So one son will take 150 and the other son takes 150. Is that understood? Yes? Yes. But let's say one son did not approve. And still one son, he's not going to approve. So that son who is going to fully approve, he will bear the consequences of the decrease in that. The one who approved it, because he said, I'm going to go ahead. So now the one who did not approve it, how much is the money that he should be taken? Because we can now, he's not going to approve the 300, he's going to approve the what? He's going to approve the what? The 200, the third. The third is 200. So 400, he will take his share as it is 400, which is what? 200. And the other one will not take what 200, will take 150. Now I understood it. Khalas? So he will bear the loss. Now, coming back. The testator still sinned for making an impermissible will, even it became legal at the time of his death, unless approved by the heirs while he was alive. So if you made a will, which is you have made more than a third without the approval of the heirs and you died, you're still going to be sinned, even if they approved it after your death, because you have made it without their consent. But it is sinful. I'm going to give you a question. Inshallah. You could ask me. No. What? Later on. It is sinful for a testator to make a bequest with an intention of harming and annoying his inheritors. Such a bequest is invalid and not binding. If fulfilled, it is better for those who were bequeathed wrongly to correct the situation. You have made a sinful will by which you have given extra portion to one of the heirs, let's say one son on the expense of the other son. And that will, you say, in a country that is being fulfilled. So that son of yours, he taken by the laws of Allah and an extra portion through your will. And the other son was what? Deprived. So that person is sin. But the person who had inherited more after the death of the testator, his father, let's say, it is better for him to correct the situation. Do you understand me? So this person who's been inherited more, he should now return back that will, which is not valid for him, and divide it between him and his brother. Is that understood? And I can repeat it again with a story. I had a person, I think I remember him, a person who had his father, before he died, they brought him somebody who was a solicitor, and they made him to write all his inheritance to some of his children and deprive one son and deprive even some girls. They only give it to males, did not give to any females of his daughters. Deprived the wives. He had 2 wives. Okay? So the whole of inheritance, we're talking about millions. This is a real story. So those millions would be given to 6 brothers. And 1 brother was deprived, 2 wives were deprived, and I don't know how many, 4 sisters being deprived as well. Okay? Now, when the person died, this person, one of the sons, he came to me. I told you about the story or not, Ikhwani, last time? All right. This is a real story, Ikhwani. This is a real story that took place, and I would like you to share it and listen to it, inshallah. So, subhanallah, the person, he came to me and he said to me the story. What can I do? I'm not really bothered about my brothers, the other ones. If they want to correct the situation, I want to correct my situation, he said. My father's giving me more. I want to take from my portion or take an extra to give to those who've been deprived, which is his sisters, whether they are from his mother or from the other mother, which is the other wife, or the ones who are the other brother, which is being deprived. And remember, even the brother's name was being deprived. I remember until today. And that brother who's being deprived, I want to take from my, so I want to take my halal money. Okay, I don't want to take extra things that mean he's still halal because he's been bequeathed wrongly, but he does not want to do that. He wants maybe to belittle the punishment or to decrease the punishment onto his father. And I went with him, I remember, to one of the scholars to give him the fatwa with his written and all, I mean, like meaning it's got weight behind it. And he gave him the subhanallah. And he asked, who are you? He knew his father. He said, you must be from that mother of yours and such and such. So he knew his mother because his mother, which is a revert, she was a Christian and embraced Islam. You can't be from the other one. You are from the good one. He said, you are from the good mother. So he knows the story of this. And this person, he got 10,000 acres of land. So we're talking about millions of pounds. Okay. And what he said to him, this is how you should do. This is how you decrease. So he said to him, okay, this land, for example, I've got. Which side shall I give? Because each side has got different value. The middle is different from the side, this one. So he told him, they have to evaluate the whole thing and then give the right portion to those people who have been deprived. SubhanAllah. What an amazing person. I met this person only about 2 months ago when I went to Jordan. I went to, and I saw him there, SubhanAllah. That took place more than 30 years ago. More than 30 years ago. Jazakallahu khairan. طيب. If you want to ask me a question?
About the heirs approving.
Heir?
About the heirs approving.
The heir who are inheritors or approving, which is something which is not legal. Go on.
Father and son alive.
Son and father alive. No wife, nobody else.
Son is obviously being bequeathed more than is allowed to more than a third.
So, listen to me, Akhi. Listen to me. If there's a son and a father, he inherits everything. So I don't know what you're talking about. He inherits everything. I said, who's going to inherit more than everything? Is there anything more than everything? It doesn't work what is in your mind. If a person got a son, nobody else, son takes everything. So you can't give more than everything. Now, yeah, we're allowed to ask questions, but we have got just some. I told him not allowed because he looked at this and I wanted to go to this from another slide, so in case he forgets. But you want to ask questions? Right. I would like to have the question. Go ahead.
Father and daughter.
The father and the daughter. Right. So if there's nobody else, so the daughter takes the half, and there's nobody else, the other half goes to her. To the daughter.
Half is the daughter, and the other half.
To the daughter.
The daughter is not.
Yeah, because there's nobody there. Okay.
Scenario with the brother, and the father gives the daughter. This is a gift during lifetime.
You could give anything, gift, as long as you are just in the gift. Like you got two daughters, you give them both the same gift.
One daughter.
So there's one daughter. You could give her all your money if you want, because there's nobody there to inherit it. No, is it? You said. I said you don't mix things. I said if the daughter had got nobody other inheritor to that testator, you could give her everything. But if there's a brother there, okay, he could give her a gift. He's allowed to give a gift to his daughter, but not for the sake of to harm his brother. Not with that intention. I want to give a gift. Oh, I've got 5 million. I want to give it 4.5. And leave 500,000 with me in case my daughter, she married and leave me with nothing. Yeah. Osama, Osama, come here. Don't sit at the back. Brother, come here at the back. Don't sit at the back. Don't sit at the back, Wani. Fill up the gaps. Right. If the bequeathed item is damaged before or after testator's death, then the bequest is invalid. No compensation. And the legatee's right is terminated. So if the item, let's say you have made a will of a car, okay, and that car, got damaged. So we're going to give him, let's scale this way, for example, dropped into the water and drowned in the sea. And that is finished. If I, for example, my will was to give him a slave, let's say, the slave died, so you'll get nothing. There's no compensation. The one who was being mentioned, the will, he can't just say to the people who are inheriting, I want a slave. Well, the slave who's being put in the will has died. You got two slaves. No, but in the will, he said slave A, not slave B. Remember, you can't give to unspecified slaves. Slave A has died. There's nothing to give you. The bequest must be of a legal money or utilizing permissible services, even if the item bequeathed is undeliverable, such as flying bird or unexistent. So the bequest must be of legal money or utilizing permissible service, even if the item bequeathed is undeliverable, such as flying bird or inexistent, such as trees food. In such case, the bequest is only valid when such an existing item materializes, otherwise it is not valid. I cannot give fruit on the tree and there's no fruit. If stated in the will that a large sum of money within the allowable third of the estate is to be designated for making Hajj on behalf of the testator. So this person, he said, I want 500,000 of my money. I need to make it 50,000 to be allocated for making Hajj on my behalf after my death. And the 50,000 is within his third. He's got millions. Okay? He's got millions. And with 50,000. Then the Hajj is to be performed for many years until the money is exhausted. Until the 50,000 is exhausted. It is will. Okay, unless he states in his will that his large sum of money is to be spent on one Hajj. I want 50,000 pounds for one Hajj. That means a proper Hajj for a person. Now, in such a case, it is impermissible for heirs to perform it unless it is agreed by all others heirs. Because all the heirs are, I will make the Hajj. Because 50,000 pounds, he's not just going to be making Hajj luxury. He's going to make saving money as well out of it. Do you understand me? So in such a case, if it's before without specifying that large sum, each person can say, I will make this Hajj. I'll take some 2,000, 3,000 from the 50,000 to make the Hajj. 10,000 to make the Hajj. But the 50,000, we're going to go by what? Special helicopter? Each person is going to be what? Fighting for this. That's why it has to be with the approval of all the heirs. If the will does not define the amount that is to be bequeathed to a certain person, then it is down to the heirs to decide how much to give him. So I want to make in my will such person A to A take from my money. And did not say how much. We could give him the full third. We could give him extra than the third. You give him less than the third. It's down to us, the heirs, to decide later on. Okay? So we give him the full third. Give him less than the third. Oh, we decide he needs money, that person. Even more than the third. And then we'll start sharing. Alhamdulillah. Right. Here, the executor of the testators, you should call it the testator's deputization. You see, right. So, ruling related to the executor, testator's deputy. He is the person or persons, very important this, Khani, because you need to know, he's in the country, you need these things, is appointed by testator to execute the whole inherited money. Accepting it is a rewarding worship. Some people take money for it, for executing your will. Only for the one who has the capacity and honesty, not a person who's a con. If not, then he may not undertake it. If he's not honest, he's not having the capacity, cannot undertake such being deputized by the testator. He must be a Muslim, adult and sane, cannot be a non-Muslim. He must be sane and adult. Therefore, it is permissible for a boy, once he reaches puberty, a woman, a disabled, helped by a capable person, provided they are sound and fit. So it is permissible for those. It is valid to appoint more than one executor, which is better in case one dies. In such case, it should manage the bequest collectively. He has full right to accept, resign during the life of the testator or after his death. That this person who's deputized, he has, full right to say, I don't want to go ahead, or I want to accept to be. I don't want to go ahead with this. Okay. He has no right to appoint someone else unless authorized by the testator. They've been deputized by the testator to go ahead and execute his will. I have no right to go and appoint someone without the approval of whom? The person who had made me the executor. I don't have full authorization. The testator has the right to appoint someone else whenever he wishes. I don't want you anymore. I want somebody else. No problem. The authority of the executor is limited to what the testator has specified. He's executor only for the land, not for the houses. My property is land and houses. He's executor only for the money which is in the bank, not the property which is on the land. You understand me? So it's or he's executor for everything. No problem. The authority of the executor is limited to what is, if it is valid for a non-Muslim testator to appoint Muslim executor provided the estate has no haram money involved. Right, so a non-Muslim, he wants to appoint somebody who's Muslim. No problem. I had a question only about 2 days ago from someone who said, somebody who is a Muslim embraced Islam, and the only person, and this lady, she had daughters, and she had relatives as well, and she has one of her daughters married to a person who is a Muslim. So this person, Muslim, he has got no direct link to her because he's not her son, and she left a lot of money. And she is not here. She is in, I don't know which country, Thailand or something, some countries there. And she has houses here in this country. And she put the executor for her, a person who is a Muslim in this country, for the houses which are in this country. In her will, she divided all the money between her non-Muslim relatives. Do you understand that? Because she had no Muslim relatives anyway. Because in Islam, if your son or your daughter is different religion, they don't inherit. In Islam, a Jewish father cannot inherit or bequeath for example, a Christian son. Different religion will stop the inheritance. So if you are a Muslim and you had a son who is not a Muslim, you have to write a will. If you are a Muslim, your father is not a Muslim, you have to make a will. You will not inherit by the Islamic law. The religion difference. So if a different religion, you will not inherit from one another. So she had made a will that her non-relative Muslim to be given each one such a share, 1, 2, 3, including the houses which are in this country. Now, this executor happens to be the brother of the one who is married to one of the daughters. Do you understand me? This person who's executor is to be happen to brother of the husband of the daughter of that one who died. Okay? As I said, the daughter, she's still not a Muslim. His brother he embraced it. Both of them were not Muslim, but his brother embraced Islam like him. They are reverts. So he's saying to me that I've been asked to give the houses to the non-inherited, these houses to divide it as well to the non-Muslim inheritors. Can I just execute it just to my brother? Because his wife, not to give it to, he's executor. He's allowed to do what he likes in terms of law-wise. I said to him, you're a Muslim and you've been entrusted by that Muslim lady who died to be the executor for this as trustworthy. You have to fulfill it to the letter unless there is haram. There's illegal Islamic things that you're not allowed to, but this is Islamically. Because she's a Muslim trying to bequeath her non-Muslim, and she said that she wants these houses to be given to other than the sister-in-law of yours, which is the wife of your brother. Okay, to be given. So you have to fulfill it to the letter. I was talking about here hundreds of thousands of pounds as well. And I met him 2 days ago, and he said, I've done exactly what you have told me. So alhamdulillah, he had fulfilled his trust. You want to ask a question? Can we just do that after that? We're going to finish, inshallah. Is that Dr. Islam is okay? Jazakallah. Time. Where are we? Which point now? The testator has the right to appoint someone else. The executor should know what is the bequest. The executor should know what is the bequest, how to distribute it. How can he distribute something he doesn't know? And how, if he doesn't know how much is the wealth to be distributed, how to distribute it? He has to know how much and who to whom. The authority of the executor is limited to what the testator has specified. We said it. It is valid for a non-Muslim testator to appoint a Muslim. We said that. Yes, we've done that. Finish. Alhamdulillah. Sorry. Come on. What's happening here? Types of disease. Non-fatal and fatal. Non-fatal, here, like for example, a flu, something like this, it's non-fatal disease. Here, the non-fatal illness, the disposals, the hiba are valid, even if it's large, even later got to a fatal illness. Types of the non-fatal illness, like non-chronic diseases, headaches, tooth pain, fever, chronic diseases, diabetes, no problem, because it's non-fatal. So this person has got these diseases, he can give whatever he wants as a gift, hiba. Fatal illness, this is a person who's diagnosed, like, for example, by, let's say, cancer. Okay, a person who's got something which is going to be making him to die. A person who is in such situation, death is imminent. Like, for example, the plane is falling down. And he's got these text messages now he's going to send, but he's dying. So it's fatal illness. Okay, dangerous circumstances. So this one, disposals, is called atiyah. There's a difference between hiba and atiyah. Okay, and atiyah are treated similar to wills. Not in everything, but it's similar in terms of it's only a third. So the plane is plunging down. When I write my will, I cannot write more than a third. Okay, so the atiyah will be treated as a will. Rulings of this atiyah and hiba as follows. First of all, justice between his children and wives. So when you give a hadiyah, like you said to one of the sons, you have to give to the other son the same hadiyah. So I gave one son as a car, the other one has to give a car. If the son is young and the other one is old, the other one is old, he's got a car, and the son who's young, we're not going to have a car because he's only 3 years old, then when he grows up, he's entitled to have the car as the other brother of his. Now coming to as well. I've got one son, I've got 2 sons. One son, he wanted to go and study medicine because his marks, mashallah. His medicine, costed me as a father, let's say £100,000 to teach him. With this, mashallah, now 50,000, it says 50,000 costed for 3 years, 4 years, minimum. The other son was not as clever. He studied he's not as clever. He was clever, but he didn't choose to go for medicine. He chose to go for, let's say, something which is cheaper. Give me something cheaper. Computer science, for example. IT, okay, it's 30,000. IT is 30. I'm talking the university because medicine takes a lot more than years than 30,000. Now, this is being justice. So it's not for the son who is taking 30,000 to see his father. No, I need 50,000, the same thing you gave my elder brother. No, I gave your elder brother because he was in need, because he was what? For medicine. Something like this as well. Somebody, one of your children, had got ill. You spent £100,000 in this hospital. The other son cannot say, give me 100,000. I gave him 100,000 because he was ill. When you get ill, I might spend more than the 100,000 if you need. So I'm talking about the gift for a gift, not gift because of a need. The gift. Both sons are old. I give them each the same thing. One son, he was old, I gave him a car. And the other son, when he grew up, I give him the same thing as a car. I will not deprive him. I'll be just. I got 2 wives, I give them the same thing. That's called just. Okay? Right, so understand this, inshallah. So justice between his children and wives. Number 2, no harm to inheritors. So when I make a atiyah or a will, I don't want to intend to harm these inheritors. Thirdly, better to give relatives. Always when you give ikhwani the will, or you give a atiyah, a gift, you give it to whom? relatives. Better than no, it's not relatives. Because the relatives here, it will give him as a gift to get him close as a friend, and also as a sila, maintaining your kinship. And that's another reward for that. Fine. Number 12. Difference between wills and atiyah, disposals. So we've got wills, wasiyah, and disposals and atiyah. Now, who is mentioned first? Bequest, which is wasiyah, no difference between the first and the last. Do you understand? You remember that? A, B, C with one difference. The priest will go on A, B, C. But atiyah, according to the order of the bequest. A will take what he said. B, if there's no left money, B will not take. C will not take. So in the question, if you remember when we said A, B, C, 100, 100, 100, and the third was what? 200. Remember, it came from 300 to 200. So A will take 100, B will take 100, C will take what? 0. Because he mentioned the last. That's the difference. Cancellation, alteration, bequest, which is the will. One has the right to cancel or alter at any time, since it is applicable only after his death. I'm still alive, I could change my will whenever I want. Disposal, one cannot cancel after disposal has already been given. So I'm just dying now, but still alive. I've given you a car. I can't take the car back, it's gone to you. As long as you took the car. I could change my mind if you did not take the car. So if you took the car, yes. Or the key of the car is in your hand. I said, I'm dying now. I said, the car is yours. Because you got the keys, now it's yours. You're the owner. But if you didn't have the key, okay, that atiyah hasn't been given to you yet. And he dies before he gives it to you. You have to what? Remember Hadith Abu Bakr radiallahu, Hadith Abu Bakr, when he said to Aisha, I wish that you have taken that land when I'm giving you now, and I've given you such and such land, but now I'm dying. It's for the will. It's now inheritance. So if Aisha said, if you had taken the tools to go and harvest what is in the land, it became yours. But it's not hers. Now you have to have it in your hand. Third one, implementation, acceptance. Bequest, accepted is valid after death. You remember, it's valued after death. Disposal, accepting is valid before death. Ownership, bequest, ownership of bequeathing things after death. Disposal is at the time of acceptance before testator's death. And that's the difference between wasiyah and the atiyah. I'll give you an examples here. The total possession of a person of 600, he gave disposal of first person £100, second person £200, third person £200. How much each would take if he gave it in his non-fatal illness? Hiba. Yalla, give me the answer before we go to the following page. Person who got his £600. That's his money, very poor. He made a disposal. First person to take £100. He's not inheritors. These people are not inheritors. Second person £200. Third person £200. So he gave them while he's alive, a non-fatal illness. It was a headache, and he gave them each one of that money. So how much would it take? Yalla, yes, tell them. Exactly. You see, he was paying attention, Ibrahim, mashallah. Exactly the same. Each one will take £100, £200, £200. This is my money. I'm going non-fatal illness. Well done, Ibrahim, mashallah. You're listening. I underestimated you, mashallah. Okay, second one. In his fatal illness, atiyah. Remember what I said. Yalla. 25, 50, 50. I don't agree. I don't agree. So how much?
50, 103.
Huh? I don't know. Atiyah. Remember, the order will take place. Yes, tell them. No. Atiyah is taken the order. Yes. He's listening to me. MashaAllah. It's very good. The third is 200 of the 600. First person takes 100. The second person takes 100. Very good. Very clever. See, I told you he's going to be the inheritance man. Don't lose any class. I'm telling you, Ibrahim. It's clicking with him. So 100 and 100. Because remember, the order is important in the atiyah. So 100 and 100. Okay, how much is in his wasiyya? Yalla. Yalla wasiyya. So what is the third? I'm just asking here. All of the non-inheritance, this is wasiyya, non-inheritance. I'm giving you. So I'm going to take the thirds. Yeah, ask one. No, it's not the same as two. Remember, the ratio of decrease going to be applied on all of them. Ibrahim is going to give you the answer. Listen to this now. Look what he said. 60, 120, 120. That's what he said. Okay, no, it's not correct. Is it correct? It's correct?
It needs to be up to,
Wallahi, it's correct. Khwani, listen. Ibrahim is the MashaAllah, Allah. Is he mathematics? Is he mathematics in class? In school? MashaAllah, Allahumma barik. Allahumma barik. Khwani, the decrease, see, here he calculated that the third is how much? 200. And how much is being given? 500. So you're going to give now 2/5 of each. 2/5 of each. So let's just go to the third page. 2/5. See, it's not really 60, 40. 2/5. So the first one, 2/5 multiplied by 100 is a 40. 2/5 is a 80. 2/5 is a 80. If you add these together, it becomes what? 200. Do you understand me? Because the full third is 200. So what I divided here, the ratio is the 200 pounds, which is a third, over the 500, which is the total given. That's the ratio of decrease. You multiply it by this 40, 80, and 80. Got it? Have you got it or not? Let's see. Example 2. Person got 300. I'm giving you less money now. 300 pounds, this estate. He gave a disposable of 40, 60, 100. Hiba, how much? 40, 60, 100. We don't look at it. Hiba, khalas, it's his money. He's alive. Okay, in his fatal illness, and it's atiyah. Yalla, bismillah. Well done, 40, 60, 0. Because so 40 plus 60 is 100. That's the total third. The third one take nothing. The last one is needs a big calculation. Yalla ikhwani. Take the third and then divide it upon the total. Well done, 20, 30, 50. Because the ratio is a half. So the third is 100, isn't it? Total is being given 40 plus 60 plus 100 is 200. So 100 over 200 is a half. So half of the 40 is 20, half of the 60 is 30, half of the 100 is 50. You add 20 plus 30 is 50, plus 50 is 100, which is the third. Is that understood? Well done, Zubair. Yes, now you're clicking now. Alhamdulillah. That's the answers. All right? It's a good game here. Right. Khair inshallah. طيب. 9 o'clock is the salah? That's very good. Alhamdulillah, we are on time. 7 minutes. Right. After this proverization, this is going to be inheritance. So this is going to be starting from next week. Inshallah, I'm going to start from here, which is the inheritance. You cannot miss a class. If you miss a class, it becomes German. Do you understand German language? Same thing. Do you? So it becomes Chinese. Do you understand Chinese? It becomes Chinese. You will not understand Chinese. I'm sorry. So if you don't come to it, then you will become Chinese. Right. Then you'll understand who is closer to you in terms of inheritance, Ikhwani. I think you were baffled when I said a person dies leaving a wife and a brother, that the brother takes much, much more than the wife. Allah Azza wa Jal knows who is closer to you. Allah knows. Okay? Allah knows. This is it's called farad. Laws of Allah. Farida, like Dhuhr farida, Asr farida. This is farida. Inheritance. SubhanAllah. So, any question, Ikhwani, before we conclude the class? Fadal. Bilbasa, you need to play 2 rak'ah before you sit down. Yes, Jazakallah khair. Yeah.
What kind of inheritors saying not mentally capable inheritance?
Somebody who is not mentally capable, who is inheriting, like for example, a son who is not, it is still his money will be spent upon looking after him, because it costs more than the one who is health capable. You know that a person who's not healthy takes more money. I know that, for example, the landlord of mine, he's been put in a home care, which is expensive. He needs £80,000 a year. Oof. £80,000 a year for a home care, luxury one. His brother told me. I can't believe it. So I think he's in need of the inheritance. But usually it is the healthcare person, it takes more money to look after him than a person who looks after himself. Now, he takes a share of full. Now, and also there will be somebody to look, to make sure that that money will be given to him. Could be the government. Islamic government will take the money to look after him. Now, the heir is not Muslim. None of them will inherit from you except by the will. Sorry? No. The will, now at the moment, you could give all of it. I think you were not from here from the beginning. Person who's got no inheritors could have the whole will, all money of his. There's something to do with the third. Do you understand me? So the third, if there is somebody to inherit, that's the third. If there's nobody to inherit, I got no children, nothing, no relative. I could give all my money to build a masjid. No problem. So if you got 3 non-Muslim sons, you make your inheritance and the following. Say 1/3 for one, 1/3 for one, 1/3 for, or you could make 1/3 for outside these 3 children, and the rest to be divided in equal between the 3 children. But if you got 3 sons who are not Muslims, because you don't want to leave your heirs without money, unless they are, a'udhu billah, are fighting Islam or something like this, because this money will encourage them to become. See, remember we said recommended. It could be. What I'm just saying, you are entitled. You're saying, am I entitled to give all my money to something else other than my non-Muslim children? You are. But for the sake of, as the Prophet of Allah, he had been giving money to those people who are non-Muslim to make them Muslim. Okay. So those people we became very good Muslims because of what? Because of the money the Prophet had given them. He softened their hearts. Now, and you deprive them from this, they will hate you and Islam. SubhanAllah, they'll hate you. Now, non-Muslim parents, they do give to the children. I know for some number of non-Muslim parents who are, as long as the sons who are Muslims are good to them, at the end of the day.
The rules of non-Muslim.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah, of course.
We all follow them.
There will be no fight. Yeah, alhamdulillah. Allah Azza wa Jalla, He made this rule to settle everything. And if you look at these laws, it can never come from anyone except from Allah. The mathematics behind it, that's not beyond like the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu understanding. This is from Allah. It cannot be coming from a human being. How does it work? So precise, so it is a solution for everything. When you read it, it makes you, Allah. This maths from that time, amazing. Some of the non-Muslims countries had taken from Islam the rules because they studied it. They know it's the haqq. And so, let's say, for example, the women, her iddah after death, which is, we said, 4 months and 10 days. They were amazed. Why 4 months and 10 days? Some of them, they made it similar to, but not 4 months and 10 days, but similar to that. Similar to that in some of the Christian countries. Because they know this is laws from Allah Azza wa Jal. طيب اخواني 1 minute and a half for the adhan. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك اشهد ان لا اله الا انت استغفرك واتوب اليك.